Hi, and welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So I was just watching a video on the Georgia, what was it actually called? The video, second Georgia Senate election hearing. It's on YouTube. I'll put it in the link. It was also in the last video, 382. Sorry, Pursuit of Truth. And this was when Trouble About was telling me, did I not see these things? These things weren't broadcast in the UK. I don't know. I don't even think even little bits of them were. I remember seeing on Sky News, unless it was on BBC, I remember seeing on Sky News they had a few clips of people with their allegations. But this one shows CCTV footage of the counting, and the lady talking gives commentary, and she's describing that at 10 o'clock everyone was told to leave, and you can see that in the video. Everyone left except 4 people, including the person who said everyone to leave, and the media left, and the poll watchers left. So I don't think we have this in the UK, but in the US, the law is, or at least in Georgia, it may be different in different states, of what I understand, is that you need to have, legally, to make it legal, the media, or at least the poll watchers, I think maybe it's the poll watchers, I don't know if both of them have to be there, but I assume at least, when I was listening to it, I'm sure it said the poll watchers had to be there from each side, so that you have some kind of adjudication, I guess. So based on that, I guess that would make it illegal, because they were all told to leave, and then they took some suitcases or ballot boxes from under a black table and scanned them in up to 1 o'clock, and they've got affidavits of people that found them doing this, and etc. So listening on based on that I listened on YouTube, it would seem that there's definitely a red flag. I mean, what was going on here? Why would they tell people to go home and then carry on scanning an election with no adjudication there, no watchers, no media? I don't know whether they knew the CCTV was there, because you would have thought if they were going to commit fraud, they wouldn't do it on television. But then, of course, I don't think this building. Well, I mean, if it was Joe Biden's people doing it, because I know he's been in office for 40 odd years or whatever, and he must have so many links within the establishment, which you would need to do something like this, including the media. And of course, Donald Trump doesn't have very many friends in the media because of the way he talks about them. So maybe that explains why we haven't seen it on the UK. I know Sky News is now owned by Comcast, so that may be the reason why we weren't shown any of these things. And I guess the video is, how long is the video? It's 7 hours long, this Senate meeting. This was just one of them. I know in America, I think they have their own, what's that channel called? It's C something. C something. I think that's a bit like our BBC Parliament, where it shows these things on a specific channel. C spaces? I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, I don't remember this stuff being shown in the UK. Trouble About, his YouTube channel has all these clips on them, apparently. He messaged me to say that, so you can find them there if you want to see the rest of them. Now, the interesting thing is, so I watched this, and then that to me, that made me think, wow, this definitely looks like an election fraud then, because this lady is saying that people were told to go home, and everyone went home, including the poll watchers and the media, and then they carried on counting. I mean, that does definitely seem like something that's against the law in regard to counting elections. And then this lady was, because the panel, they didn't seem to be very concerned about that aspect of it. They were more concerned about the leak that happened, and not really this kind of information. But then one of the ladies was saying this has been debunked ages ago, but then didn't offer any information to explain what that was, so I had to look it up. So this is what I found on the internet. Where's this coming from? This is coming from AGC, 5 Georgia election fraud claims explained by Mark Nisi, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And they've mentioned the ballot suitcases, and the claim, according to them, it says Trump's personal attorney Rudy Giuliani is promoting a video that allegedly shows Fulton County election workers pulled a suitcase of ballots from beneath the table after Republican Party poll watchers were told to leave. Explanation: election workers had put uncounted absentee ballots in ballot containers when they thought they were going home for the night around 10 p.m. on November 3rd, said Gabriel Sterling, the state's voting system manager. Then a Fulton County elections official told poll watchers and media that ballot counting was done for the night after a long day of work. No one was forced to leave, said Richard Barron, the county elections director. I will continue in a minute what it says, but that seems like such a shit statement to say. Like, you don't have to leave. They could have stayed if they wanted. Stayed to do what? If the election counting had finished? I mean, that sounds like that's a red flag, that statement. Ballot counting resumed soon afterwards when the Secretary of State's office asked Fulton to keep working, Sterling said. Video shows the election manager taking a phone call and informing staff that their work wasn't done. Though poll watchers were gone, the process was recorded, and a monitor from the Secretary of State's office arrived about an hour later. Election workers unpacked absentee ballots from their containers, which were ballot storage containers, not suitcases. Then they resumed counting until about 1 a.m. The chief investigator for the Secretary of State office told Channel 2 Action News she saw no evidence of wrongdoing. So that's the explanation. That's, I assume, the debunk they're talking about. Now, I mean, it's still, even if you want to make up the excuse that everyone left except these 4 people. These 4 people took ages to unpack their tables, and everyone else packed their tables so quickly, which allowed them to stay. And I mean, it just seems like if you've told everyone to go home, and you've told the poll watchers to go home, and you know that legally you need the poll watchers there to make it legal, then shouldn't the county officer that was there, that received the phone call, have told them, no, we can't continue the count because we've sent everyone home now? I think that would be the legally responsible thing to do. But luckily, there were 4 people left, and they knew where someone had put some absentee ballots under a table. Were they one of the 4 that did that? I know that the lady who stayed was the one who put the table there. So I don't know. That it just is a big question mark, let's put it that way. You've got 2 conflicting stories there, and obviously the media will pick up on whoever's official and whatever they say. If they can give a reasonably good answer, and they will just put it down to, wow, they made a poor decision. But the fact is that, okay, someone recorded it. I mean, does it say in the law that a recording is sufficient, or does it say that you need poll watchers from both Republican and Democrats to be there? If it says that, which I believe it does, then that makes the count invalid, and therefore puts a problem with Joe Biden's election as president. I mean, it definitely puts a question mark, because poll watchers weren't there. A video was taken, and then someone from the Senate's office came 1 hour later. I mean, if they were doing this officially, if this was a business, if this was something important, which is, you would have to make sure all the dots and T's were crossed, no? Wouldn't it have been better for the person to say, wait a minute, okay, you want us to carry on counting. All right, I'm going to have to get some more counters in. Oh no, I've already got 3 here. Luckily, they took a long time where everyone else left. I'll get some more people, and I need to phone the Republican and Democrat Party and make sure that they bring someone and tell the media. I don't know if the media, if there's no lawful impediment, then they don't need the media. But if they definitely need the poll watchers from both parties, they should have called them so they could turn up. Once everyone was there, then the counting starts. Because that's what they would have done in the morning, wouldn't they? So you can't just say, oh, wow, they videoed it, it's okay. So that excuse to me, and the fact that they said, well, they didn't have to leave, no one was told them you've got to leave, is like stupid. Like that doesn't mean nothing. So I don't know, now I am concerned. Before, I have heard bits about these things, but because of Trump and his personality, he's not very trustable, and so you think that, oh, he's just saying it because this is Trump. But if these things are actually happening, maybe he's actually correct. Maybe this election has been stolen, because how do you explain? This is just one bit that I've come across now that hasn't been on television in the United Kingdom. I don't know if it has been widely shown on CNN or ABC or whoever. The problem is, like I said, because Trump alienated a lot of the media, they're probably not going to rush to his defence. They're going to sit on this, and that's the most important thing. If you sit on this information, then you can get away with whatever you want. If you control the media, like they say, then you can control the world. So I don't know now. This has left me with a big question mark. The other thing that confused me, and I don't know, obviously, if there's American listeners, they can update me on this, because I don't know whether I've watched bits of the election previously, but I don't think I've watched it as much as I did this recent one. 4 years ago and 8 years ago, when Bush and Trump won, was the coverage the exact same way? Because I don't remember them showing, mid the results. Because when I was watching this election with Trump, it was telling you that, how many counts, how much has been counted, and what the score, as it were, was so far, which seems to me such a stupid and thing to be doing. Because in the UK, the different places, they all have their own counting rooms, and once the counting is completed, and only then will they then stand up, and the cameras will be on, and then the returning officer will announce the actual results. So, but the results are only announced for each county until all of the county's votes are counted. There's no, like, currently this is the person who's in the lead and who's in second, which seemed to be happening this year. I don't remember seeing that previously. Has that happened before? Because that seems such a stupid idea. You have to wait till everything's counted, because if you're telling people midway who's winning, who's not, that allows for fraud, I would have thought, because then someone can start getting some ballot papers out, printing some out, getting some dead people's names, or let's lose that ballot suitcase. Anyone in that balloting office, I don't know whether they have access to phones and being able to listen in. It just seems like that is just, you don't count, you don't watch the Eurovision Song Contest and they're telling you mid results. Well, I suppose they do when they read out each country's. No, because they don't. It's just like, I don't know any other election where they do that, where the media is able to call who won it, and you can give, before all of it's counted. That seems that's problematic. So I don't know, was that done previously? Or is this the first time they've done something like that? Because that's a huge red flag, and then that's not the way to do an election. And the second thing, what was the second thing now? The second thing was, do they normally stop a time and then go home and then start counting the next day. I mean, I know in America there's obviously, is it 300 million people, and so therefore I can't really compare that with the UK. But I'm pretty sure most elections, they don't stop counting, they count through the night. So I don't know, in each state, do they normally stop and then go home and then come back the next day? Surely they don't do that. How long? I mean, I suppose it depends. If it takes more than 24 hours or 12 hours to count, maybe they have to do that logistically. I don't know. But that to me also seemed a bit strange, to be going home and then counting after they had a good old sleep. Because in the UK, they count through the night. You know, they start counting, was it 10 o'clock? 11 o'clock, is it? When the elections, when you can cast your last ballot, and then they start counting then through the night, and then they're counting through the morning. I mean, they can always replace these people, no, can't they? Like Tesco's or Walmart, they can all work 24 hours. You're telling me the government can't work 24 hours? You can have unless you have to have the same people counting, can't you have shifts? So if this person counts for 12 hours, then you replace the next lot with 12 hours, and therefore, I suppose, well, I don't know, just that seemed a bit strange to me as well. So I don't know whether this Georgia case, this idea of stopping and then starting in the morning, is that normal or not? So hopefully some Americans who have watched previous elections and this election will be able to clear those things up for me, because that, at the night, I remember thinking those things. But I was going to do a pursuit before, but then I wasn't sure, because I thought that these things seemed a bit strange. But yeah, but now watching that video that Trouble was talking about, the different hearings that took place, after just watching, well, I've only watched that one, it's got another 5.5 hours of it, and that's just one in Georgia. God knows what else things have been alleged that we in the UK haven't been shown on our news channels. But it's because they don't really care about these things. It's like the panel. You could see they weren't asking the questions that, when I saw it, were immediate questions that I wanted to know. They never even bothered about it. They were bothering, oh, about this leak. Oh, this leak happened in the morning and it was just a toilet. Well, you're worried about that. You're not worried about why people were sent home and then they carried on counting and taking ballot boxes from under a concealed area. But of course the thing is, now we've got this excuse that they were told. I mean, do they run it so badly there that they don't know what they're doing? That one minute they're telling them go home, next minute they're telling them no, stay, we have to count these ones. Of course, that's the thing, as long as you have any kind of excuse that seems feasible, even if it has incompetence in it, people will swallow that and say, well, that's just because they're incompetent. You know, it's much more difficult for people to swallow conspiracy or to swallow scandal. Although anyone who's watched Scandal will know that, well, didn't they have isn't that how the president got into place, Olivia? Well, there was a ballot box or a typing machine or something that they put in. I can't remember what it was now, but yeah, I know Scandal had the same type of thing. And I'm sure it's not I mean, there wasn't at George W. Bush's election, there was a question mark over Al Gore that should have actually won. God, how the world might have been different. Or was that after Iraq and Afghanistan was invaded? So I don't know. I mean, I think what I've seen, and the small amount I've seen, is given a big question mark. No matter that the state have given their excuse, to me it still doesn't quite make sense why, if the law says, if this is the important thing, if the law says the poll watchers have to be there, not a video camera, not a video link, not someone from the state, but if it says that poll watchers have to be there for it to be lawful, then if they're not there, it's not lawful. That's it. Can't start rewording the law to suit somebody's incompetence, that they couldn't be bothered to to phone up people and tell them the count's going to start again, or tell them that no, we can't start the count because we sent everyone home, and it would be illegal. Because this allows for, if it was truthful and this did actually happen and it was truthfully and fair and this was just someone's incompetence, then it allows someone who's lost to be able to say, well, look, this is illegal. And with an election, you have to follow the letter, surely. The people that are in charge have to follow rules, and they should know them. So how is it possible that someone who was in charge didn't secure these ballots in the first place? Because I assume the people that were left behind, they were in different tables than where these ballots were taken from. So why do people stick them under the table? The people who stuck them on the table left. That's not very secure, is it? Unless it's just securing the whole building. So I don't know. To me, and this is just one thing, there may be many, many more of these things. That if there are Americans who've watched all this stuff, then I don't think this is going to end with Biden being elected. I think this is going to go on for a long time of people who are going to question this election, whether it was true or not. And it may not come to anything, much like Trump's taxes didn't stop him from running to staying in office. It took him 4 years to get them out to find that he paid hardly any tax. So it may not affect Biden. He may still run for his 4 years, but I don't know what it's going to do to the people if they are getting fair media coverage of all this stuff. I mean, it's on YouTube, so, but that doesn't really matter. It has to be on mainstream to get to enough people. But then a lot of people will just switch off once they hear something they don't want to hear. It's a lot like confirmation bias. It's the opposite of it. When you don't want to hear something, no matter if it's truthful and put in front of you, you're not going to have most people don't have a mind that's open to be able to investigate and look past their own confirmation bias, as it were, and take in new information and then run with it. They say, oh, wow, it doesn't matter if there was an election fraud, Trump is better out. I mean, I'm not a supporter of Trump or anything, but I believe in socialism in its essence. I mean, not in the systems that we have, because the systems that we have are not real socialisms, and not really to help individuals. I don't believe in money and all these power aspects of things. I know that, as individuals, we need to work as a collective as well. But how that is done, I don't know, because the way it's done at the moment, through electing governments and this, that and the other, I don't think that works, because I've seen it in my own lifetime, and most of us see in our lifetime, especially those who live in poorer parts of the world, how these systems don't work for the majority of people. While there's still one person suffering, to me, that means it doesn't work. And there's more than one. There's millions of people who are suffering, who are not getting the life that they deserve. The life of everything is what everyone deserves, truthfully. We've all been blessed to be born, as it were, on this place. And we should all be able to explore every part of it, to be able to be brothers and sisters with each one of us who have also been blessed. And that's not some hippie thing, that's actually the truth. But unfortunately, because we've all been born into the story of the way that we live now, the life that we live, we won't see that, because we believe that systems and all these things that we've been taught through our childhood is what's normal, but it's far from it. Anyway, take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.